I believe that everybody has a story, and I'm fascinated to hear them. So come with me as we take a walk down Fascination Street. This episode is brought to you by the Monarch team. If you're looking to buy or sell a house outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, this is your team. They service Flower Mound, Highland Village, Grapevine, South Lake, and many other areas. Click on the photo link on the Support the Show page and tell them you heard about them from Fascination Street. This episode is also sponsored by Pure Vitamin Club's Sublingual B12 tablets, which is the only sublingual B12 supplement that doesn't contain binders and fillers and delivers 2,000 micrograms of the B12 form nature intended directly to where it's needed by dissolving tastelessly under your tongue. Everyone needs B12. It's an essential water-soluble nutrient that your body can't make on its own. B12 gives a boost of energy to vegans, active people, people over 65, anybody who is experiencing low energy or fatigue, and anybody who experiences mood swings or is depressed. Click on the photo link on the home page or on the Support the Show page at fascinationstreetpod.com. Alright guys, welcome back to part 2 of Clint Howard. This episode is a little bit shorter than the last one, but there's still some really good stuff in here. And stay tuned for the end of the episode, because directly after the episode, you're going to hear an excerpt from the Gilbert Gottfried's Amazing Colossal podcast, where Clint was on, and he talked about little old me. Now that was a little bit before I flew out there, but it was already in the works that I was about to. So enjoy, guys.
Yeah, talk to me, yeah.
Jesus Christ. And action. Hey, Clint, I think I read or heard somewhere that, I want to say you got a scholarship to go to college?
Oh, yeah. No, I won a full scholarship to go to Pepperdine University. The idyllic campus overlooking Malibu, Pacific Ocean. I won a scholarship. And
Was it for bowling?
it was journalism.
Journalism.
And if I wasn't going to continue being in the entertainment business as an actor, I would have pursued journalism.
So by this time, you had been in the business for a decade.
I'd been a professional actor at this point by 15, 16 years.
Okay.
But I'd been taught journalism in junior high and high school. Great teacher, Steve Campbell, was a brilliant educator. He's retired now. But anyway, he inspired me to pursue journalism. And I got the scholarship at Pepperdine through winning a contest. I was competing against other people. I got the certificate saying, congratulations. I went to registration and they took me aside and they said, Mr. Howard, there is a little confusion. I hope you understand it was a 4-need scholarship. And I was a little stunned, and I wasn't as cocky then as I was now, because I would have said, what the fuck? Because I had won the award.
Right.
But when they said it was a 4-need scholarship and that I was going to have to pay for my units, well, I had brought my checkbook with me because I knew there were going to be things that even the scholarship wasn't going to cover.
Sure.
So, as it turns out, I had to pay the whopping grand total of $103 a unit. And I stayed at Pepperdine for 6 weeks.
Oh, 6 whole weeks.
Oh man, I was a hell of a higher educated person.
So you finished college in 6 weeks?
I finished the classes. I stopped going.
You were finished with college.
I got a job.
Weeks.
Is what really happened.
Oh, really?
Ron and I sold a script to NBC. They did a TV movie called Cotton Candy, and I had pitched the script, or Ron and I had worked up the idea, and we pitched it to a lady at NBC, Deanne Barkley, who she was running the TV movie division, and she loved it. And it was
like a movie of the week kind of a thing, back when they did that?
Yes, it was an underdog story about a high school band, and it was a cute little softball, NBC and Deanne Barkley really kind of made it a softball. In my mind, as a 17-year-old kid, I didn't see the movie as a softball. I thought the music should have been edgier. I was thinking it was all going to be kind of tougher. And yet, we got into the mix, and no, what they really wanted was cotton candy. So we made them a softball. It gave me a great excuse to disenroll in college, unregister or whatever they call it. So I officially got out of school. I didn't get Fs, right?
Right.
Well, a couple of years later, my mom was hounding me, and there's a little college, little university over here called Cal State Northridge.
Northridge. That's where they had that crazy bank robber shootout, right?
Well, yeah, they had a real bad earthquake out there. The bank robber shootout was in North Hollywood.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought it was Northridge. My bad.
The one where the cops had to break into the gun store to get weapons to fight. Yeah, no, that was North Hollywood.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
So anyway, Mom, to get her off my case, I said, okay, I'll go to Northridge. I'll take a class or two, So I go and enroll. I find some sort of softball class that counts, I was an undeclared major.
Underwater basket weaving?
Well, no, it had a book.
Oh, okay.
Underwater basket weaving, I assume, would only have brochures. But I go into this class, and I'm sitting there, and this teacher, educator, instructor, professor, whatever he was, seemed like a decent enough guy. He started doing his thing, and in about 5 minutes, I realized I was in the wrong place. And 5 minutes later, I was walking out of that classroom to never return.
Really?
And the teacher did look me kind of, I caught his attention as I was leaving the classroom. I didn't make a big deal about it, like call bullshit and slam the door. I just quietly tried to leave because I didn't want to be in college. Well, I forgot to disenroll. I failed to get out of the class. So like 12 weeks later, I got one of those little computer-generated things from Cal State Northridge saying I flunked my class. So my only official college transcript says F. That's Clint Howard's college career.
Sweet.
And I would say I miss it, but I really don't.
Well, there's always time to who cares. Nobody.
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't want to be Rodney
short.
Dangerfield going back to school. I'm not funny enough.
Oh, what about, would you be Billy Madison going back to school?
Well, Billy Madison was only about 25. See, I'd be a lot closer to Social Security. Like, I probably would be in retirement by the time I got to college, and I really don't want to be like that elderly dude that's in honors English, because that's what they call the guys. That's what I would call them.
Sure.
Oh, the old dude that's in the history class. That old guy, God, he's gonna die any day.
Yeah, that
That's
guy.
what you say when
Is that guy gonna make it through class?
Yeah. Well, no, he leaves.
All right, everybody, look right, look left. One of these people is gonna die before the end of the semester.
So I'm not one of those people that say, kids, go get that college education. Because I honestly can say, college is probably a really good thing if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer. But, in my opinion, life is the best place to get educated. And, I think almost for drill, a high school kid should take a year off and travel. And even if everybody's scared that he might get hurt, well, you know what? It's a big old world out there. And, most 18-year-olds that take a year off and go sightseeing or go see some place that they like to see, very few of them die. Most of them come back with great stories and wonderful experiences. So that's my tip of the day.
All right, sounds great. All right, Clint, one of my favorite projects of yours that is a relatively recent project is a TV show called Still the King on the Country Music Television Network, CMT. It stars Billy Ray Cyrus and Joey Lauren Adams, and you're on there. Why don't you tell me a story from the set about your character, Crazy Dave, and how you guys came up with this nutty character.
Told Potsy and the gal that was directing, I said, this isn't really going to play because these words, this guy, he sounds dumb as an 18-year-old. Imagine how I'm going to sound. And we, quickly came up with a handle of, well, okay, are there 58-year-old roadies? How can you be batshit crazy and in your mid-50s and still be a roadie? Well, you got to do something well. I knew a roadie one time that slept with his eyes open.
Really?
Very effective. Crazy Dave was just, he might be an idiot, but by God, he's like
Radar. On account of my name's Dave.
Radar O'Reilly.
Fucking love Radar O'Reilly.
Yeah, well, he had that something special. Well, like Crazy Dave, There was a great joke in the first one that they cut out, and it was about the old stealing the guitar trick, and because that's what Billy Ray Cyrus says. He said he was playing a trick. He was really trying to steal the guitar, but it was a prank, right? No. Mm-hmm. And I looked at him and I go, yeah, like the time that one used to steal the wife prank.
Oh, shit. Oh, was that in the script?
Yes, it was, and it got cut.
Probably CMT was like, we're still a fledgling network.
I think it's time more than anything else. I don't think
really?
there was anything that we were doing that was out of bounds. It's just a matter of they're shooting so fast and throwing it up against the wall.
I really liked that show. I didn't know what to expect, and
I loved working on it.
I really liked it.
The second director was really good. I really liked the second guy. The woman was, I liked her. She was already preoccupied. She was up to her neck in directing, and I was a last second hire, and I don't think she would have hired me. She was giving me some direction that was not me, and I know it's not what they hired me to do. And I sort of, without making an issue out of it, I sort of had to put the producer together with the director and have the producer explain to the director what is happening now, because this guy that you hired to play Crazy Dave is not 23 or 24 years old. He's a middle-aged guy with, bald head and with a hitch in his giddy up. How do we make that work? It's funny, but how do we make it work?
Right.
And, I don't know whether she was a believer at the end, but she yelled print a few times, which means, good enough for me.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, it's not Dr. Zhivago we're doing.
It isn't. It's My Name is Earl.
Yes.
And My Name is Earl was a fantastic show. They only got canceled because of political shits.
Well, yeah. And listen, they wrote to the point so often where they would take a subject and talk about it and put a character in a pickle over a certain situation and then come to, if not a moral conclusion, a logical, honest conclusion. Right. And hey, that's a wonderful way to spend a half an hour of television.
It was great. My wife and I never missed an episode.
Yeah. No, listen, compared to, there was that rash of shows that was on NBC that was, 30 Rock, and then there was Community, and
I didn't watch any of them.
I tried, and it's just like, that's not what I consider entertaining. Just because somebody can kind of come up and say something quippy,
right,
and a quick put down or something. It's
all snark.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's not my cup of tea. And I don't think I would, if I had one more piece of entertainment to watch before I passed, I don't believe it would be, Still the King, but it's a very viable piece of entertainment.
I'll agree with that. I mean, me thinking I've got decades, I'll watch Still the King.
Well, yeah.
Plus, I love Joey Lauren Adams. She's great.
She's a nice gal, too. I'll tell you. She's a real, honest, doesn't try to hide the bruises, and she knows how to cuss, and she knows how to be an actor. And, people don't realize it when you're doing something like Still the King. Those aren't done in a studio under ideal conditions. Those are in people's houses in the bad parts of Nashville.
In churches, yeah.
And it's with no air conditioning and chop, chop, chop. We got 7 pages to shoot and we only got 4 hours to go, or, whatever the scenario is. It's not very pleasant. And you spend a lot of time
kind of not breathing in very good air, waiting. And you can get, not bitter, but you just get tired and you get cranky. And especially for women. Because look, a woman on television, their face is right there. If they're not looking good, saying just the right thing, there is a swarm of other actresses that are just thundering towards her future.
Right.
Yeah. And that would make me paranoid. Listen, I'm a funky character actor. They almost can't either ruin me or fix me. It's just I am what I am. And so I don't worry too much about the glamour aspect of it. But if you're somebody like her, her job is to look good and look perky and be smart and say sexy things. And, when it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon and you've had a couple of bad meals and too many cups of coffee, it's hard to be those things. People don't realize it, man. Life's in session and there's 20 people in a room that's built to hold 6. And
right.
They're in there making a movie, and there's always some mentally ill person on the set. There
Sure.
always is. There's always a bipolar.
And if you look around and you can't find them, it's you.
Yeah? Well, I know I'm whacked. It's that tension that happens. First of all, it's competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's trying to look good.
Right.
Everybody's trying to score. It's tiring. The studios are hiring you for a lot less than what you're worth. And they're working you very hard. And also the crews are getting younger and younger and younger. And to maintain your composure, even under ideal mental conditions, would be a challenge. I worked with an actor, and I'm not going to say his name because you would know, and he was in a cop show. He was in a cop show.
Okay.
He admitted he needs meds. I worked with him on a thing, and yet sure enough, he was, by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, he was starting to act like, about a 7-year-old boy.
Really?
And at least he verbalized it, that he's not really having a great time of it right now, and got through the scene, and he was a little snappy at a couple of the people, but nothing bad. And it, just like any other situation when you're working around somebody and maybe they're not having a very good day.
Sure.
And so, listen, you got to deal with that. The last thing I worked on, it was a pilot with Victoria Jackson was in it. And
Really?
A guy, yes, and a guy named David White was the lead and one of the producers. He made a movie called Holy Man Undercover, which in its own weird way is kind of a funny movie. I would encourage anybody to see this interview that I did with David on the day that I was on the set. And it's really funny.
How would somebody find that interview?
YouTube, Clint Howard, Holy Man.
Okay.
I was sick. I remember, I had like a head cold and my voice was really, really gravelly. And I was wearing one of those faux beards like the Amish wear. And mine looked ridiculous and I sounded ridiculous. And they had paid me. So I was feeling really good. And we had broken the back on the scene. And
what does that mean? Broken the back on the scene?
Getting the important shots. Like
Okay.
if you figure if you're running a mile, it would be running the first 2/3 of the mile.
Okay.
You broke the back of the mile.
Gotcha.
Just from here on in, it's just go. It's like you can never really relax when you're making a movie, because when you're doing entertainment on film or videotape, if you relax, you lose your momentum and your mojo, and it changes everything. So you almost have to grind just to stay consistent.
Gotcha.
They don't teach acting classes that do things like this, and this is what I propose, although I could teach an acting class in about 10 minutes.
That'd be a terrible business decision for you.
To acting class?
No, to teach it in 10 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, I'd have to stretch it out.
Yeah.
No, but that's what it would take. My dad, seriously, everything I need to know about acting, I can tell you in about 10 minutes. And most of the other stuff is instinct, and of course there is some stuff that you need to. People that don't have the instincts, you sort of help guide them towards where they might find them.
Sure.
So the teaching of it is very, very simple. You listen.
Don't give all the secrets away here.
It's 3 minutes.
Make them pay for it, man.
You listen. Well, it would be embarrassing. I could get $5.
All right, everybody, send Clint $5.
If everybody sent me $5, the world would be a much better place.
All right, cool.
That's actually not a bad.
I know, right?
Like a campaign.
Send it to me and I'll get it to Clint.
No, Steve, no. In fact, I've heard the opposite. I think you ought to send it directly to me. I'm going to take care of Steve.
Oh, shit. All right, let's do it, Clint.
But to teach an acting class where you do it on the 10th floor of an office building up there by the pigeons, it's cold, it's blowing 20 miles an hour, got a shitty pot of coffee. You wait till about 10 o'clock at night, some little nervous guy comes up to you and says, you gotta go! Gotta go, chop, chop! Be an actor then. Be an actor.
When you've been sitting around waiting all day just drinking coffee?
And it's 35 degrees, and you've got some little yin-yang who's trying to tell you if you could just pick it up a little bit, we could all be in a better place.
Yeah, like in acting classes, don't they teach you, like, pretend you're drinking out of that cup? But you really need to actually practice pretending to drink out of a real cup.
Theory is theory, and doing it is doing it. And every human being has a motive for where they're at, and they have an intention of what they want to do. They got a plan. Everybody, you have a motive. I have a motive. I know one of the easiest things to teach a child is know where you've been. Were you at the 7-Eleven? Where were you? Were you in reading a book? What were you doing? Maybe did you just get finished going to the bathroom? You got to find something. Where were you and where are you going? And all the talk and all the theory aside, mimicking the human being, and not mimicking, that's like you're doing an imitation, but act like the guy and do it with your own God-given ability. Because God makes everybody special. There's a little something about everybody. Sometimes it's a little emptiness behind their eyes, and sometimes they're just a little too grandiose, or sometimes they're a little too shy, or everybody's got something. You find that and you use it as you build this character. Listen, I say it on my Facebook page. I work at the carnival. What I do for a living is about as important as somebody that works the Midway. I have a cigar box. I have a little booth at the Midway. I borrow a booth. I'm using somebody's booth. I don't have a booth, but I have a cigar box. And over the course of time, I have gone to the carnival and I've put my cigar box out and I've opened it up and I've done my little act and I've made a living. And I've entertained people, and people have had maybe better evenings because they've seen me. Maybe it doesn't really matter. I've killed some time for them, and showing them something that I do that puts a smile on their face or elicits some sort of emotion. And then when the night is over, I close my cigar box and I'll figure out where my next carnival stop is. I honest to God, I can't make myself any more important than that.
It's good that you don't take yourself too seriously.
Yeah, there's been thousands of people that I've met that taken themselves way too seriously, and in my mind I go, what idiots. And there are people that are heavyweights. I admire people that are heavyweights, and occasionally the world has a few heavyweights, real big time problem solvers, big time conduits for conversation. There are special people in the world, but generally speaking, just acting, I ain't teaching. I'm not doing any doctoring.
You're not doing any doctoring?
No.
All right, good to know.
I'm not military. I'm just a guy telling jokes or telling a little story, pulling a leg. That's what I love to do more than anything, is pull legs.
Yeah.
If I feel like I can do a job and tug on the audience's leg a couple of times real good, I'll figure that's job well done. Because I think everybody kind of needs to have their leg pulled on.
Sure.
That's the whole thing about when I did that Pippi Longstocking short for Funny or Die. The whole idea is, does this guy really believe that Pippi Longstocking could be a superhero?
Well, she was a superhero.
Strongest woman in the world.
Lift
a horse with one hand.
I mean, by the definition of a superhero, she was a superhero.
Telepathically communicates with animals. Pippi Longstocking, she had attitude. Damn right she could be a superhero. Well, that was the whole premise of the short. And if you actually get somebody doing a double take going, wow, and she would be, then you got a winner.
Man, they need to bring those movies back.
Pippi?
Yeah, fuck yeah.
I don't know. Really?
Well, jazz it up.
She had no rack.
She was also like 14, so who cares?
Well, yeah, you can't play her 14, though. She ages.
Yeah.
She's like Mila Jovovich, I mean, she was grown up.
Sure.
In the short, they were saying, but she's a child. No, she's not a child. She's got a monkey as a pet, and she's carrying around a machine gun and throwing hand grenades.
Forget we mentioned Rack, but who'd be a fantastic Pippi?
Pippi needs to be a wiry young girl. The braids have to play.
All right, who would you cast as Pippi?
Who would I cast as Pippi?
Emma Watson. Is that her name? That girl.
Miley Cyrus.
Oh, that'd be fucking badass. All
Why
right,
not?
You win.
Why not?
You know what?
You could stencil some freckles on her. Oh, could you imagine?
What? I'm gonna pitch that to Billy. See what he says. I mean, he's ignored me thus far, but
Yeah.
But Joey hasn't. Joey's the only one who's responded to me on that show.
Really?
Yeah. Well, I only reached out to her and Billy.
Oddly enough, Camp Adam Carolla, mildly aware and certainly not confused when your name came up.
Oh, Corolla?
It was.
Why did my name come up?
It was just part of the prep.
Oh, good.
It was part of the prep
with Dylan and Gary and whoever.
Here's a dude gonna fly out to pick up a snow globe and save himself. What did I say? $877,000. $876,999 because you still owe me about.
Oh, you know what? This is great podcasting right here.
Wow. Oh, that's a fresh one.
That is a fresh $1 bill, my friend.
Yes. Well, you're now the proud owner of Squeaky Clean.
Wendy the window washer.
She's a tart.
Yeah,
but don't try anything because it could get kind of funky.
It could get funky.
Snow globes, it's hard to repair them. If you have a moment of lust, it's
a goddamn disaster. That's heartwarming to hear that my name didn't sound...
they didn't go, who?
Yeah. They
what?
Were like, what? Who?
No.
Who? Monday I'm going to go interview a bunch of them.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Your passion for podcasting, I mean, ever since we became friends and your interest in it and your passion, it will carry you a tremendous amount in doing this. You might be really good at this.
Well, that would be awesome, but I'm really just doing it for the fun of it.
Well, yeah. But you know what? What's more fun than being successful?
Well, that's a good point.
Do
you know what? To circle back to that story of how we met.
Yeah.
Sunday, if it all holds, I'm going to get to go watch Kevin Pollak do his show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Well, that was unbelievable that you were watching a streaming podcast.
Nobody knows. I haven't told that story.
Okay, well, when my buddy, Gig, who has a very unusual name, which is probably the reason why you picked up on it, because I mentioned his name, and he's an attorney. When he called me and said, there's a guy that sent me an email, and he's trying to get in touch with you. And he was here's a pretty worldly guy. I mean, there's an attorney that's been around the block a few times. He was flummoxed. And I heard the story, and I laughed, and I said, if somebody's got the gonads to pull that off, I'm willing to play along. As it turns out, you weren't pulling anything off. And, you asked for my golf clubs. You asked if you could buy my golf clubs. And I said, I'm not selling them. And then I found an old, was it a putter or a driver? Putter?
Putter.
Can you still putt with it? It couldn't have been very good.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
I suck anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, well.
But no, it's great. I love it.
Well, listen, we probably would be a pretty good match now. If you suck pretty good.
Oh, you would still kick my ass.
Well, maybe. Although, I don't know. I'm not sure I could not make a double.
But you know what? You would kick my ass, but I would have more fun.
Oh, no. But you see, having fun, it's a little like being successful. When you win, you have more fun when you win.
Well, as long as I'm there with you, then I would be your competition. You wouldn't be playing against yourself.
Well, but when you're playing golf, you're playing against yourself. You're playing the score. You're playing shoot as low around as possible.
Sure.
I mean, beating you like a drum, that's an afterthought.
Calm down now.
Come on, That's almost like when Uwe Boll, the infamous director, challenged me to play ping pong and bet me $100. And now I was a really good table tennis player when I was a kid. And
I saw you have a table out in the garage.
Yeah, I'm good. I was not quite in top form when Uwe came. Uwe came out. He lives in Vancouver, from Germany, but he's up in Vancouver, and he was here for the American Film Market, which is every year they have it down in Santa Monica. It's sort of like a film festival without awards. It's just a buyer's.
Is it like South by Southwest, or?
Well, it's a sort of
more like the upfronts.
They rent a couple of big hotels, and various distributors come and they present their movies, and they'll have screenings, and they'll try to get buyers from all the different markets, and people from all over the world come to Santa Monica to go to the AFM. Well, Uwe went, and Uwe comes to the AFM, he stays there for an hour. But he went, and then he wanted to come by and play me in ping pong.
Here?
Yeah. And
so you set the table up, said, bring it, bitch.
In 10 minutes, I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt he was going to kick my ass 21-13 every game.
What made him decide he wanted to play you? Did y'all have this previous discussion?
Well, I think I mentioned to him I was a pretty good table tennis player, and I am. And
he's got a German ego and was like, I will kick your ass.
He's an amateur boxer. And when he climbed into the ring with movie critics, and that was like the worst mistake they ever made, because, they didn't realize this kid fought when he was a kid. This Uwe got in the ring and made these critics look like women as they were running around, trying to avoid getting hit. Uwe is an athlete, and Uwe may not really look like an athlete. He's got a bad hip, so he's got a hitch in his giddy up, and he's bald, and he's Uwe Boll. You just don't expect him to be a 5-star athlete. And we were playing ping pong for, it was a few minutes, and I realized right away, there's no way I can beat this guy. And he beat me. We played 3 games, and he beat me, he may have been giving me...
came over here just to play you ping pong?
And get $100. Fast pay makes fast friends. I had the money right there, and I paid him right away. And, and I'll tell you what, he beat me bad enough to where I don't think I'd want a rematch. I'd have to somehow get in a much better spot physically and maybe even sharpen the skills. My skills have eroded tremendously on the ping pong table. I was as good. I was right below being a tournament player.
When you were younger, like a kid or what?
Yeah, into my early 20s.
Oh, okay. How very punk rock?
Well, I'll tell you what, guys in jail play really good ping pong. And if you start playing guys in jail, I'm not never spent any time in jail, but...
Thank you for clarifying. I got confused.
Yeah, a couple of nights in the cooler, but not...
Sure.
I think I had 1 meal. 2. I had a little bowl of cereal, and I had like a little bologna sandwich. So that's my prison experience. God, where were we? I got sidetracked by prison. Something gets me all fired up.
We're talking about Uwe Boll.
Oh, no. Uwe, he, in every way, was better than me. And I had gotten good enough to where I could play this unorthodox style and still pretty much call my score with every game I played. And I used to play guys with a book. I had a book called Call of the Wild. And it was a hardcover, a little children's version of this hardcover Call of the Wild, and I would
Jack London?
Yeah, I would beat guys with that
That's
book.
His name, right? Jack London?
Gamble with the book.
Really?
I'd sport people points. I'll give you 10 points and I'll play with a book.
Chi Rodriguez used to do that with a Coke bottle.
Yeah, sure. And Lee Trevino was famous for that too.
Oh, maybe it was him. I'm sorry.
Lee Trevino could listen. No, that's too big, and I need hardcover. It's weird. That Call of the Wild was just right. This is a little heavy. I'm looking at a VHS copy of the movie I did, Gentle Giant.
Did that come out before?
Yes, we did the movie before we did the series, and Vera Miles played my mother. And I must say here, I have been in the bosom of some of the most beautiful women in the world, because I had scenes where I cried on Vera Miles's breast and Maureen O'Hara's breast for days on end.
Maureen O'Hara?
And I was 13. Now, don't tell me I didn't know what was going on. It was some of the best acting I've ever done.
It's a 13-year-old's dream.
Oh, and Vera was no slouch either. Vera Miles, I mean, she's kind of a long forgot. She was runner-up Miss America. She worked for John Ford. She did a couple of John Wayne movies. I'll never forget when she was explaining that when it got down to 2, she was so petrified she was going to be Miss America. Because she got into it. She was a little Kansas schoolgirl. She didn't know. She was naive. She got into it as a lark, and because she was so beautiful, she kept winning. But she got to the finish line and she realized just what a nightmare it was going to be if you were going to have to be Miss America for the whole year, that she literally cried tears of joy when she lost.
Oh, that's awesome. She's like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, well, it's, if you've spent a week being at a beauty pageant, being primmed and,
right,
and now you realize you got to do that for the next year.
Yeah, no missteps. Everybody's watching all the time.
And it's gotten a lot worse. Imagine in Vera's era, it was probably,
Well, there was no social media. There wasn't a camera phone lurking around every corner waiting for you to fuck up.
No. In fact, you realize that there are cameras now that you can buy. Consumer cameras that you can buy are no bigger than like zip ties.
Right. Yeah.
You put them right here. In fact, I was going to go on a comedy talk show. It was a live thing at the Pasadena Civic Auditorium, and these guys were known for being kind of outrageous and doing nutty shit. I was going to get a body cam and come out on stage just to protect my ass.
Really?
Yeah, because if these guys were going to try anything funny, I wanted it to be recorded because it wasn't on television. It was a live event.
Right.
I felt like that might get a laugh, and it also might keep them from doing something that would be kind of embarrassing. Because if I had one of those little things, they look like big ballpoint pens.
Right.
You put them in your pocket.
Yeah, like you just put a Sharpie in your pocket.
Yeah, and if they know what you've got, they're liable not to urinate into your windpipe.
Sure.
I would hope they wouldn't urinate into your windpipe anyway.
That'd be a rough day.
Be a hell of a podcast.
Yes.
Gee. Extreme podcasting.
Yes, extreme
Why not?
podcasting. Well, that.
Think about it. You might not be a very long career if you talk about skinning
Yeah.
cats.
The jackass of podcasting.
Yeah. Why not? Stupid is as stupid does.
I heard that somewhere.
Yeah. I think an Academy Award winner said it.
Some famous person said that once.
Well, listen, I'm about talked out. You've I don't know, how long have we been doing this?
15 minutes.
Yeah.
No, let's end it. Ready?
Good night. And I've talked to a bunch of people who are real podcast enthusiasts. And they always mention your show. And also Kevin Pollak. They just think you're funny. This guy, Steve, he thinks you're really funny.
Did we get a last name out of Steve?
It's Owens.
Steve Owens. That sounds familiar. Okay.
Yes. And
Okay.
in fact, he's going to buy one of my snow globes. In fact,
You want to
He's
plug the
not-
snow globes, by the way?
well, I have snow globes for sale for what, $788,000. I'm just trying to sell one. No, $288,000. I just want to sell one.
You
I'm
don't
giving
actually
him
sell them,
one.
do you?
If you got $288,000, I'll sell
No,
you one. And one of them traveled. One of them somebody tried to fly.
and it broke.
Oh,
So
shit.
I will give him to somebody if they won't take it on an airplane. This guy, Steve, he lives in Texas, and this guy's going to fly out from San Antonio and drive back with a snow globe. And it was made in his honor. I met the guy, and he's got a fascinating kind of career and a life, and he's kind of funny, and he gave me the idea for a snow globe, and I made it, and I offered it to him, and he took me up on the offer. He's going to come out and pick it up and drive home.
Very cool.
And I imagine you've seen Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
It just might be a snow globe reference.
Chased from the lines, beat up after school, made such a fool, ain't even cool. Caught in a jam, he'll never know the worst. He's a left-handed boy in a right-handed world. He's a left-handed boy in a right-handed world. Girls always giggle, boys grit their teeth. My mama even frowns, she can't take the heat. Left his mark, he left us in a whirl. He's a left-handed boy in a right-handed world. He's a left-handed boy in a right-handed world, in a right-handed world. Chased from the lines, beat up after school, made such a fool, ain't even cool. Caught with a fix, he'll never know the words. He's a left-handed boy in a right-handed world. He's a left-handed boy in a right-handed world.
Opening music is the song Magnolia from the 2014 album Intransigence, used with permission from Douglas Miles Clark. Closing music is Apollo from the 2001 album Into the Known by the band Sapphire. Thanks for hanging out with us and getting to know a little bit about our guest. We'll see you next time on Fascination Street.